Okay, in this section we're going to look at double stops again. We've looked at them in the previous lesson on the dominant chord. So now we're going to look at them on the major chord, and then we'll look at the minors. I think that we should just get in tune again. I'll give you my 6th string, E, A, here's our D string, our 3rd string, G, B, and again the high E. Good. Again, I think I'll keep all the examples on just for the moment, on a G major chord, and show you where these, again, the double stops come from. The pentatonic scale would be the good starting point for them. I'll just go through the major pentatonic with you on the fingering. And remember that it's all you're actually doing is leaving 2 notes out, as we've talked about earlier, of the major scale. We leave out the 4th note in the scale, and we leave out the 7th. So even without a fingering chart, if you knew the major scale, you'd simply leave those 2 notes out and you'd have a perfect major pentatonic. Penta meaning 5 tonic notes. Okay, here we go with the fingering. 2nd finger, 3rd fret. 4th finger, 5th fret. 1st finger, 2nd fret. Stretch right up. That's the 5th fret. 2nd fret. Stretch again. 5th fret, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret. Try to see shapes. If you notice that inside that there was I could refer to it as a rectangle on the top 2 strings, just like a square. Next 2 strings like a square pushed on its side. So let me just play that for you smoothly. Now what we can do is we can look at that scale and simply join the dots. Join 2 notes together. Let's look at that. So we can see that at the top end of our scale. The possibilities, endless. Next 2 strings would give us this shape. There we have it, 2 shapes, straight line, angle. Next 2 strings would give us like a 3rd interval, then a straight line. So, next 2 strings, straight line, next 2, straight line, and finally, and most of our double stop playing is going to concentrate mostly on the higher strings. They start to sound a bit muddly on the lower end. So what we end up with a bunch of shapes. And that's our starting point to add to the basic major chord. One note that I do bring back into the scale, even though it's an outside note, is as long as we're careful to get onto it and off it quickly. The 4th will sound great if it's not lingered on. So let's have a look and find out where the 4th is. Here it is, sitting on the 5th fret of the 3rd string and also the 3rd fret of the 5th string. So we're going to be aware of this note and listen for how I'll introduce it. There it is, and off it. effect. Let's try it on the bottom strings. There's a nice movement. Now, let me put a few examples together. We'll just try and keep the sound of the chord and have a listen to some of these ideas. And again, use your own imagination. It's endless what you'll do, even with just that one. You know, dynamics, space. Soft. Using fingers. Now, in order to use them effectively, the same principles as the ones we looked at on the dominant chord. It's good to know them in the 5 forms. That way we can utilize the whole fretboard and have freedom, whatever major chord we're on. So the next logical one would be to look at the D form. I know we've covered these fingerings in a previous lesson, but I'll go through them fairly quickly for you. 3rd fret, I'll just call it the fret numbers. 5th fret, 6th string. 7th. Leave out the 4th, so we go straight to 5th fret on the 5th string. 7th fret. 5th fret, 4th string. 7th fret. 4th fret, 3rd string. 7th fret. 5th fret. And right up there on the 8th. 5th and 7th. Look at this section of the scale just here. You'll notice that they're all form a square. Very simple shape. Now if we join them, the strings together again, we're going to come up with shapes. Angle. There's that straight. We've already seen that shape in the previous one. We've seen this shape. It's repeated. If I stop just there, you can see that from position 1 in the E form we can move into our D form. Now we have a straight line, angle, and straight lines. And back to our chord. What I'll do now is I'll play a few ideas and just see if the connections, if you can spot some of the shapes being connected, and maybe give you some ideas with that. What I did there was just add a little rhythm to it. You can and remember that 4th. Let's look at it when we're in our D form. So we can play a note and there's the 3rd. Let's look at it here. Our 4th, the C note here on the 5th fret, 3rd string. Remember to get off it quickly. Okay. And again, we can do the same thing on the other 5 forms. All we simply need is the pattern of the scale, join the dots, and our favourite ideas, try to mimic them on the other forms.